Thank you very much, Niklas, for a very good presentation of what's the difference and what's in Horizon 2020. I think it was an excellent overview. We will change focus a little. I will try to give you, hopefully, some advice, some recommendation, and some findings. And this is more on national level, you could say, because I've been a program committee members for many years, and I also participated in this shadow committee because there is not yet a program committee for Horizon 2020. Before I start, I must say, to complicate your life a little and mine, I will talk about different statistics. Of course, Niklas has the latest figures coming from Brussels. We get to Sweden when the contract is signed and everything is gathered. We get figures and statistics, which is a little bit delayed. And if you really want to see what's happening, I use, which I want to do, I don't want to wait 1 year, it's not 1 year anymore, but it used to be 1 year contractual time before we get the statistics from the call to the negotiation, contractual, until so I want it earlier. So I picked the statistics from the application, which then is not correct because they change during negotiation. So what I definitely can guarantee is that the figure is not right, but they are sufficient right to see trends, and that's what I'm aiming at. So don't quote the figures because they are not completely right and before negotiation, in some cases anyway. So and some slides I will go very quick. Pass very quick because Katrin has already and Niklas has also already touched on them. But is it important? Yes, I would say it is. And you already mentioned this. I expressed it in a little bit different way, but it's the same really. It is to tackle economic crisis. It's also population's concern, the challenges, and it also, of course, the position in research. And how important this is. This is the same picture as Katrin showed. It is important, and it is increasingly important because this is FP7 figures. And as we saw, the horizon will even be a little bit higher. So they are important for Sweden, for you, for all of you who is participating, who is probably will apply later on. So very important. Question is, how are we performing? And I think Niklas already mentioned it. We are doing well, no doubt about it. I would say we are doing quite well. If you look at this and compare how much we actually, I don't like to measure it in money because in general it's the knowledge that we bring or gain, I would say, and also the possibility to work with different nationalities and different competences, which is the main driver for participating. But we measure it still because that's the easy way to measure it in how much do we get back. So, and as we have a slightly little different timing with the figures. So in Sweden, we get around 4% in the NMP part. Yeah, that's about, and that's quite good. As you mentioned, we are in population we are even below 2%, and if you so it's good. But how are we performing in NMP? Well, if you look at these figures and compare to different countries, we have, as I mentioned, 4% earlier. And we have a number of countries before us. But if you compare Germany, for instance, that is 80 million inhabitants, and compare it with Sweden with 10 almost, or right around 10, we are still doing quite well, I would say. Could we lean back and just be happy? That's the question. How do we achieve this in Horizon 2020? Or how do we keep it up even? This is the organizations that is participating the most in NMP. And this is based, as it says here, on signed contract until October. That's when we got the last updated upgrading of our statistics from Brussels. I must mention that Volvo AB is a number of Volvo. It's Volvo Powertrain, Volvo Construction, and so on. But I merged them, as I did with Sverige and also with SP. But still, this is the one who is most successful. And one thing, if you look at this closely, you see there is only one company present. I will not ask you to remember this list, but I will come back to it a little bit later. How about Horizon 2020? This is figures that I actually got from the Commission. I got it from a colleague of yours, Doris Schröcker. This is the average on all contract, actually, because all contract is signed for FP7. The participation in percentage of different groups, categories. And if you add the Swedish participation, so far as we know it right now, it looks like that. So we are a slightly different, we have a slightly different profile on our participation. We have a higher on universities, actually, and the average in. Is this bad or good? Well, it's good. We are performing well. But it's good to have in mind for the future, actually. And if you look at the money that they bring back, it looks like it. They get high percentage of payment in universities. So it's good. But still remember that we have a higher participation from university. And we could see that also in the list of the participants that is most successful. Now, 2009, the PPPs, and Niklas has already mentioned them, was introduced as a from the beginning as a recovery plan, the recovery plan for the recession. But quite successful, so this concept has been developed and still there and will be a very large part of this framework. We have, though, one challenge in Sweden, and I will come back to that. 2009, approximately 4.4 or a little bit around, a little above 4% counted in money was recovered from Brussels, and that was the year before the PPP was launched. If I look today at 2013, we have a little bit higher at this moment, but if I take away the statistics for the PPPs, we have 5.5 around. So we are not so successful in PPPs, and that might be a problem or a challenge or a possibility, actually. I took the liberty to make a graph over, and still this is based on budget, otherwise I couldn't present it all. And in Factory of the Future, which is one of the larger PPPs right now in NMP, and you add all calls from 10 to 13, we get 2.6% back. But, and this is the opportunity, we have actually a higher level of applications. So if we only manage to get them through, we will get a higher percentage. So the interest is there. The interest to participate is there. But the ability to get them through is a little bit, need to be adjusted a little. And you can see that the point is, if you have a red stable that or figure that is higher than the blue, you have a success rate that is not that good. And if I add the success rate here, you will see that Sweden has 9.5 in success rate, but the average for these countries, which is listed here, because there are a number more countries that didn't receive anything, the average is around 17%. So we are not doing so well in Factory of the Future. On the contrary, I must add, because that you should be honest, in energy efficient building we are doing better, much better. So this is, but we have this is something that we have to think about and really discuss, because there is not so many countries that has a lower success rate. And success rate I measure how many submit and how much come back as a project with funding. So this is and there are some which has the same problem. If you look at Norway, for instance, there is one, but we should, as a manufacturing company country, be somewhere here, and we are on that side, and that is there is a challenge for the future. And why do I bring this up? It's not to make you depressed. It's actually to say that there is an opportunity, because we have the interest. We just have to be a little bit better to get them past the evaluation. For instance, by speaking with Katrin and before submitting. Why do I mention this? Because this is not exactly the right figures, but roughly half of the budget for NMP-B will be in these PPPs. I added green vehicle. It's not in, but I think we make contribution in money. It's run by the. Yeah. Yes. So and that's why it's important to increase the success rate, because it will be such a big part of the program. I don't know what it looks like even further away, because we only have the work program, which is for 14 and 15 right now. So, and I don't know the ambition from the Commission. We can ask him afterwards if it's going to increase even more. But that's something to think about, and also to think about not only to be happy to have submitted a project, also to think about how do I actually, what kind of project and what quality and what kind of partners, because I think that is also important. I made a very unscientific study not this summer, the summer before, and looked at all evaluations in NMP, actually the marks given by the evaluators. And what I found, not very significant, but you could see it. It was that we were the project with Swedish participants was not so successful describing the impact. So and if we are changing to even more, so you see where you have to put more emphasis in the future to describe the impact. This was already, I just took the slide, I took this TRL level from the annexes in the work program. And I tried to make a little different figure than you did. You will have it in the handout, and you can see the different levels and how they are presented, and roughly what has the change in why the change in Horizon 20 compared to FP7. We are moving more to up the scale. Now, this question was raised before. How can we actually influence the development of work program? And I have a figure or a graph that I actually showed almost the same time last year. But of course, I developed it a little. It's from the beginning. It is a commission. I borrowed it from the commission, but I added a few because it was not complicated enough. So now it looks like this. I'll try very brief to guide you through it. In the middle, the yellow. This is the commission, actually, and the commission has, according to the treaty, the privilege to propose. So it's always the commission that propose framework, work program, and things like that. To its help, of course, they use a lot of input, and I would say that you should read this figure from left to right. That is the sort of flow for the information and how you can influence. You have, of course, a lot of roadmaps and things like that developed. And of course, the Commission look at this before writing a work program. But more important, I would say, is the European technology platforms. And this is, you can find it on the web. It's not in the meaning that you should be able to read all this. There are 40 right now, 40 which is sort of approved from the Commission, 40 different European technology platform. They all has done strategic plan, roadmaps, things like that. And that is, of course, input to the Commission. So one way is to try to be involved in the platforms. They are not closed clubs, and the Commission has the last half year, I would say, there have been some people working with these platforms to make them more open, to make them more transparent, and also to make them open for people who want to participate in some respect. And the idea is to actually sort of to have this status of a accepted platform. There will be some kind of evaluation or something every second year or something, and they will look at the openness and things like that. But they are very strong, and all of this don't feed into NMP, of course, but quite a lot of them if you look at them. You can find this, if you Google this, you find this figure, and you can click on this and you get into all these different platforms. And you can also find who is involved and things like that. Though not that easy, I must admit. The person that we actually had here yesterday, had been working with this, said it's sometimes difficult to find who is really behind the platform. But they are working on opening up this a little bit. So this is important. And then you have the PPPs, and I would say they are even more important. And that's why I printed a red arrow directly into the Commission, because they are accepted, they are a part of the work program, and they have these agendas and things. And as Niklas said, of course, the Commission don't take their agendas, cut and paste and put it on the work program. But they have a huge impact, of course, because they have organized, there is an organization behind this, and they are more open, very open with the participation. And you should, if you are interested, try to, in some way, be a part of it. And I'll come back to that a little bit later, actually. So this is the structure. And of course, there are a number of other. You mentioned, for instance, I wrote it down, the KET high-level group. There is also outside somewhere putting input to the Commission. There are member states group on KETs, I know. There's another, it's run by DG Enterprise. Yes. Yeah. So there is a number, it's almost impossible to keep track on them, the number of groups that is put. But the best way is, of course, to get involved and to engage in one of these. Then I'll come to, it's not misprinted. It should not be all inside the Commission's sphere, because it's a group that is run by the Commission, but it's member states representatives in it, and many of them comes from the program committee. So it's sort of semi-inside, semi-outside group, which actually had a huge impact on what is done in nanotechnology for this work program. So it's in a very important group. Finally, where I am, and it's nice to write it like this. You see, if the flow is this way, and everything comes in here and it is discussed, and out comes a suggestion on a work program. Here, before it comes out, is the program committee, which I'm a part of. I'm an expert into this program committee. We are two persons from Sweden, one from Näringsdepartementet, the Ministry of Enterprise and Communication, I think. Mikael Gröning and me. We have the possibility to, well, that's negative. We are trying to help the Commission to make the work program even better. You can put it that way. So we have the possibility to say, well, we don't like that and that, and we feed it back. And the Commission says, well, we like it, but we don't. So it's an interaction. And in general, I would say it works very well. We have good collaboration. I meet Niklas once in a month. Not this autumn, because we were once every week even. Yeah. But it works. And so what I mean is, it's important to work with input, but it's also important to see what happens with the suggestion in the end. So that is the main picture of how to get involved and how the work program is developed. Now, I said, remember the list. Well, look at some of the name that is successful. Here is what you can find on the web, very easy. Swedish participants or people or organization that is involved in PPPs, in different PPPs. And by, I wouldn't say coincidence, you will find that the organization that is involved in different, they are in the board, or they are somewhere in the organizations. They are also successful when it comes to the framework and NMP. So it's not a coincidence, I think. So this is the organization that you might, I have put the web address, and you can yourself find the people behind maybe, and if you want to discuss with them. So I think it's, what my point is, you get what you actually also put in. That is the real point. It's important that to be engaged. Some few words about, I already mentioned it, the responsibility of the program committee. In Sweden, as Katrin said, we don't have the structure yet, but I think it's today that the government is deciding who is sitting on the different program committees and NCPs and the organization. So hopefully it will be today. As I said, we try to contribute to develop the next work program. Putting forward, of course, Swedish positions, but also having a European hat on, because you can't have 28 member countries only putting in their shopping list. Then we will never end up with a work program. It's very difficult. You also have to be a little bit wider and think forward. We have the mandate to suggest area, addition, changes. We can also, when the Commission comes with a work program, of course we read it. I read it so many times, so you get a bit bored in the end, sort of. This is what it looks like, 126. This is the part. It's only one work program, but this is the part of NMP, and it's 126 pages. So we can suggest different things, like TRL level, if we are not pleased with the level that is suggested. We decide also, I wrote biannual, maybe 2 year, because the work program works for 2 years. We had a long discussion in the committee with the Commission, because this is the first year. Are we going to go for a 2 year? We don't know yet. We have no experience. So what we actually, in the end, managed to get is that it's this sort of disclaimer in the front, which says it's a 2-year program, but the second year can be negotiated and discussed. And that is very important to remember when you look at this. Topics can disappear or change 15. Not 14. And approve a larger project with a larger budget is also one of the tasks for the program committee. And as I said, in general, we have a very good collaboration with the Commission, and we have almost never voted. I have to say almost, because I let you in a little secret. That's why we met every week in this autumn. We had almost finalized this. The discussion was almost clear, fine, and we were happy with the result. And then suddenly a topic popped up. Very late stage. It was. I'm not blaming representatives from DG Research. It was actually another part of the Commission, the Enterprise, who wanted a topic and just pushed it in and took budget from the rest, because they didn't bring, they only brought a topic but no budget. And this actually caused a minor crisis, because a lot of member states couldn't accept it, because it was not prepared, we didn't know about it, it took money, we had to change a lot of things, and we didn't even like the writing, actually. So in the end, after all these meetings, we had to vote. We never voted. I've been in Programs Committee for 16 years. We never voted, and we had to vote about it. Can we accept it or not? And we could not, of course. So, and this was a risk, because we could actually stop the whole launch of the Horizon 2020 because it's taken all as one package. But the Commission, or the part from DG Research, I would say, are very understanding and clever people. So what they did, they actually took it away. They took away so that's why it's one page here, 120, where it's no text. They took it away, and then we could pass it. So otherwise we had to wait until we could agree on it. Well, it probably will pop up in 2015 again.
After it has been discussed.
After we have discussed it, right. Maybe some changes. So that's what happened. This is just for your, it's not information to remember, but these meetings are quite big meetings. We are, 28 member states. I think we are 12 associated states. I don't really know right now. Somewhere like that. Yeah, and so it means that we are around 75 persons representing the different member states. 5 hours. If we have 10 topics on the agenda, and everyone speaks, Commission replies to all questions, so they take half the time, reasonable. It will be 12 seconds per person. So what I mean is, you need to be prepared. You need to know what fight or what input you want to do, and to this I really have. It's not I or the Mikael Grön from the ministry who decides. We have a national reference group. Right now we don't have it because we don't know. It's, as I say, right, it's due for renewal, and we don't have this instruction yet, so we have not right now a reference group, but hopefully we will have some instruction very, very soon. And then previously we had around 25 persons representing all different actors, and also try to cover all areas, but it's very difficult. And we have had people in university which then spread it to other university and gives input to us, because we cannot on our own find out or decide what is the position from Sweden. We need some help, but this is it's not published in the web because the Commission don't like it. It's not allowed, but the Commission understands that we need to have some reference group, and we, as long as we handle it with some discretion, it's working anyway very well. So that's how it is. Some recommendation. Impact. I would say be very, especially in the PPPs. Look at what is asked for and describe the impact, and also be very careful what kind of TRL level. This is not, as you said, a criteria or evaluation criteria, but it's important. Contact the relevant people to discuss it. It's very important. In the best of words, we would have a list of all the scientific officers who. Perfect. It will go. So we will have a list. What scientific officer is connected to what topic. So that is my main recommendation. And of course, as always, the only way to succeed is preparation. That's how it is. Okay, thank you.
So now there is time for questions. I can start, actually. You said that it's good to describe your impact. Good. Isn't it better if you sort of build your project from the impact? It's not a matter just of description.
I don't know if I'm the right person to answer that question, really. I only have submitted one project once, actually. So I'm not so good at that. You're probably much better to answer that. But I think it's also, two things are important. It is to to be careful with the consortia. I think it's very important. I made also statistics some time ago on what country was coordinating when it was a success, and what country was what kind of countries when it was not a success. And you can see a not very strong correlation dependency, but you could see. So it's important to have the right participant in a project. I think it's very important, but also to be able. I think we have been very successful describing the scientific part of it. We are very good at describing the idea, but maybe could improve what is the use of it, what is the impact, how will it be used, and what. I think that is quite important.
Okay, we can open up for more questions. Anyone?
I'm a little bit confused now, and therefore correspondingly curious about the changes of work programs, because we have calls published, and as far as I have understood so far during a few years in the business, when the call is published, then what is called for also stands based on the work program as it existed when the call was opened.
Yep.
So to what extent and how and when would any changes appear?
I don't know. Maybe you should answer it, because this has been a big issue. If you look at the Horizons 2020, it's 7 years. So what the member states said, why start with 2, 2, 2, and 1? When we don't know, it's new. We are actually entering a completely new framework, completely new ideas. Why not start with 1, 2, 2, 2? And this was big debate, and it's not the program committee's choice. It's not even the commission represented in the commission. It's on high level. It has to be decided on a much higher level. But this discussion and a compromise was that we don't change it and say it's only 1 year. We say it's 1 year and indicative the second year, sort of. Maybe you could elaborate a little bit about it.
Thank you. Yes, all this is right. I will just add a few things. So first, whatever you do, it applies to the whole work program. And for this reason, we have a part of the program committee called the strategic part, which decides on generic issues like this with the commission in the same mechanism. Now, as Ulf says, there are advantages and disadvantages. On the one hand, the Commission really wanted to give this extra certainty, call it certainty, to proposers about what was to come, to show that it is serious about the strategic planning. Equally, it did not want the program committee and the other bodies advising the Commission to commit themselves now absolutely for 2 years. So this is a compromise. So and there is this disclaimer. Now, in principle, everything in 2015 can change. In practice, we will not do that, because if we wanted to do this, then there would be no point. In fact, it would be worse. If we wanted to publish 2015 and then change everything, it would be better not to publish it at all. So, of course, we expect there to be these topics, essentially all of these topics to be there, to be available. Even though the possibility exists, if it is decided that a certain topic really does not fulfill any need, no one wants it, yes, it can be removed before the deadline. If that's the case, it will be removed well before the deadline. But this is very much the exception than the rule. What we and the member states, I think, want is on the one hand, continuity, certainty for the proposers, the stakeholders, and on the other hand, the ability to respond to needs. And the final point is that there is, we have to plan on the basis of the budget as we know it now. Usually, there is extra budget which becomes available, which is confirmed in the course of the previous year. At that point, you could either top up your existing topics or you could add 1 or 2 topics. And of course, this would be done well before the corresponding deadline, at the very least 3 months. And our present plan, I cannot promise it, but the present plan is to have such an update to the work program with potentially changes to the 2015 topics before the summer break next year. That will be the proposal of the Commission to the program committees. That is to think for the first half of the year about any amendments that are needed in 2015 topics and then publish them in July, say.
I can add one thing, and that is that usually when we produce a work program, we get the first draft maybe very, very late in December or in January. When we start this work program, we actually got the first draft in September. Yes. So we lost a half a year, and the member states, the representatives, did not have so much input, and thought that we would like to discuss it a little bit further. Otherwise, it's difficult to yeah. So that was one of the reasons, actually. Yeah.
Some more questions? We have time for at least one more question, and then there is coffee.
Rehane Degani, Uppsala University. At the beginning of this week, during the info days for the PPPs in Brussels, we were told that, at least during the parallel session for the European Green Vehicles Initiative, when applying for a topic, sending in an application, you can aim at only some of the scopes, and then the application will be evaluated, and if it's successful, the funding will be in proportion to the what is aimed for in the proposal. Does that goes for the rest of the programs in Horizon?
I can tell you one thing, and that is that I cannot answer that question. I'll hand it over.
I must say I'm surprised to hear this. This is something that we need to check. We have to check exactly what you asked and what answer you were given, because this is not how it works. You will not be paid in proportion to how much of a topic is a scope. The scope is relatively non-prescriptive, as I said, but you have to address it.
Yes, and I think I wasn't the only one that reacted.
Let us talk about it,
okay.
And we'll get to the bottom of it.
Okay, thank you. I think we shall keep to the timetable, at least roughly. So this is the time when the webcasting will stop, and I would like to thank the speakers once more.